Did you know that something you do every night could be silently weakening your brain? It may seem harmless, a habit so common that millions of people repeat it every day without imagining the impact it has. But the truth is that it is directly linked to memory loss, mental sluggishness, and even an increased risk of dementia. And what's most concerning is that almost no one notices it, because the first signs are subtle. Forgetting simple names, losing focus in conversations, or walking into a room and forgetting why you're there. Most people think this is just part of natural aging, but I need to tell you something very important. It's not normal to forget. I'm Dr. Sofia Martin, a specialist in brain health and healthy aging. For over 20 years, I have dedicated my life to helping men and women over 50 maintain an active mind, a strong memory, and a life full of lucidity and purpose. And today, I want you to discover what few doctors explain clearly: why the brain can begin to deteriorate silently, and what you can do to prevent it, even after 60. Many of my patients come to my office saying, "Doctor, I think it's just fatigue. I've been forgetting some things, but it must be my age." And when we investigate further, we discover that the problem is not the passage of time, but the lifestyle that repeats itself every day. Small gestures, automatic routines, and nighttime choices that gradually poison the brain. I know it can be scary to think about, but it's also liberating, because what destroys in most cases can be corrected. Imagine being able to wake up with a clear mind, remember everything clearly, have the energy to think, decide, and live with presence. This is possible, and it starts with understanding what is really going on inside your head, right now, as you listen to me. Now tell me here in the comments which city or country you are watching us from. I love to know how far this message reaches. Enjoy and share this video with someone you love who also needs to take care of their health. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you what's behind this silent habit and how it's sabotaging your brain every day. And more importantly, the simple and powerful step to stop this process before it progresses. I know that with the pace of life we have today, it's easy to believe that fatigue, lack of focus, and difficulty remembering small things are just part of the routine. We live connected all the time, rushing from one appointment to another, with our minds divided between worries and responsibilities. And when the body starts to show signs, we almost always ignore them. Who has never said to themselves, "It's just stress. It must be lack of sleep. Everyone forgets sometimes." But what we call normal may actually be the brain crying out for help. Many people tell me, "Doctor, I reach the end of the day exhausted, with no energy, no desire to do anything, and my head feels heavy." Others report that they live on autopilot. They wake up, work, take care of the house, watch TV, and sleep. But deep down, they feel that something is different, as if their mind no longer keeps pace with their body. And I understand perfectly. It's not a lack of willpower, it's that the brain, like any other organ, also wears out when exposed to bad habits every day, even if those habits seem harmless. It's like a gear that starts to jam little by little. At first it continues to function, albeit more slowly. Then come the subtle forgetfulness. Someone's name, the date of an appointment, a simple word that escapes you. You get used to it, laugh at yourself, say, "I'm getting old," and move on. But inside, your brain connections are being compromised. The brain is trying to warn you that something needs to change, but it can only express itself through these small lapses, this feeling of mild confusion that comes and goes. I know what it's like to feel that time is running faster than your mind can keep up. We've all been there, torn between caring for others and forgetting to care for ourselves. And that's exactly where the danger lies. When exhaustion becomes routine, and the body's warning signals fade into the background. You may not realize it, but while you're trying to juggle everything, your brain is asking for a break. It doesn't want you to stop living, just to live more mindfully. Because there's a reason for this fatigue that won't go away, this mind that feels heavy. And understanding that reason may be the first step toward regaining the clarity you feel you are losing. What many people don't realize is that inside our bodies, the brain is in constant motion. Even when we are sleeping, it never truly rests. Every second, billions of cells exchange signals, send messages, store memories, and delete what is not essential. It's like a living city where each neuron is a small lit house. When everything works well, The lights shine in harmony. But all it takes is one bad habit repeated long enough for some of those lights to start flickering, going out. And little by little, the whole city becomes slower, more confused. During deep sleep, for example, the brain performs a silent and essential task. It sweeps toxins, organizes memories, and repairs connections. It's what I usually call mental cleaning. But when we sleep too little, or when our sleep is light and fragmented, this cleaning doesn't happen as it should. It's as if you let trash accumulate inside your house night after night. At first, it seems bearable, but soon the air becomes heavy and the environment begins to lose vitality. This is exactly what happens inside the mind of someone who does not rest well. Toxins accumulate, and over time, impair memory, reasoning, and mood. But here's the point that almost no one talks about. This sluggishness doesn't appear suddenly. It starts with small signs: difficulty remembering where you put something, feeling like your head is full, irritation for no reason. Your brain is trying to warn you that its connections are becoming overloaded, like electrical wires that overheat and lose power. Have you ever felt this mental fog on stressful days or after sleepless nights? It's your body silently showing you that it needs care. And it's not just sleep. Inflammatory foods, a sedentary lifestyle, and constant stress also interfere with this delicate system. When we eat poorly, the blood carries substances to the brain that inflame it. When we are too sedentary, cerebral circulation decreases. And when we live in a state of alertness, excess cortisol slowly erodes the areas responsible for memory. It's like trying to run a computer while several heavy programs are running at the same time. It crashes, overheats, and nothing seems to flow. But there is something fascinating. The brain has an incredible capacity for regeneration. When we treat it well, it responds quickly. All it takes is a few nights of restful sleep, a cleaner diet, and a few minutes of conscious breathing for new connections to begin to form. It's almost as if the lights of that city are coming back on, one by one. Now you understand why forgetfulness and mental confusion are not just signs of age. They are messages from your own body asking you to reorganize your mind. And when you start listening to these signals, everything changes. This is when many of my patients realize the problem was never just fatigue. It was the brain trying for a long time to get your attention. And that's when everything starts to make sense. By understanding this process, I began to observe something in my patients that struck me deeply. Small changes, when made consciously, completely transformed the vitality of the mind. I remember 72-year-old Carmen. She came to the office complaining that her memory was not what it used to be, that she forgot where she kept her keys, and that she felt more irritable and confused. When we analyzed her routine, I realized that the problem was not just the amount of time she slept, but the quality of that rest. Carmen had a habit of falling asleep with the television on and drinking coffee until late afternoon. We changed that. We created a simple ritual, turning off the screens an hour before bedtime, replacing coffee with light tea, and completely darkening the room. In a few weeks, she came back saying something I have never forgotten. "Doctor, it feels like my brain is breathing again. And this is not an isolated case." Harvard University published a study showing that chronically sleeping less than 6 hours a night significantly increases the accumulation of toxic proteins in the brain, the same ones associated with the development of Alzheimer's. Science has clearly confirmed what was once only clinical intuition. Deep rest is one of the greatest preventive medicines there is. Another patient, 68-year-old Manuel, believed that sitting all day was normal for his age. He spent hours in front of the television, barely moving. We started slowly, 10 minutes of walking in the morning, 10 in the afternoon. At first, he doubted that it would make a difference, but 3 weeks later, he came smiling. "My head feels lighter. I seem to be able to think better." And that's no coincidence. Research by the World Health Organization shows that regular physical activity can reduce the risk of cognitive decline by up to 30%, even in people with a family history of dementia. These stories taught me something valuable. The brain doesn't age because it wants to. It ages when we stop stimulating, nourishing, and caring for it. When we sleep well, eat better, breathe calmly, and move, the brain understands this as a sign of safety. And in the face of safety, it flourishes again. It is as if each cell receives the message, you can function lightly again. Science confirms what the body has always known. Prevention is a form of love. Taking care of yourself is not a luxury, it is a responsibility. Looking at Carmen, Manuel, and so many others, I realized that what seemed like a simple detail, sleeping better, walking a little, turning off autopilot, proved to be one of the biggest keys to preserving not only the brain, but also the joy of being alive. After understanding all this, it becomes clearer why so many of us feel mentally exhausted, even when the body seems to be at rest. It's not just about sleeping poorly, eating wrong, or living stressed. It's about what happens inside the brain when it doesn't have the time, space, or energy to recover. The brain is like a conductor who needs silence between songs to reorganize the notes. When there is no pause, everything becomes noise. It is in this noise that forgetfulness, irritation, lack of clarity, and the feeling of always being one step behind in life are born. Science explains it, but life confirms it. When sleep is too light, the brain does not do its nightly cleaning. When the body does not move, the blood that carries oxygen and nutrients to the mind circulates slowly. And when we live in a state of constant alertness, cortisol, the stress hormone, corrodes the connections that sustain memory. All of this happens silently until the day we realize that we no longer remember what we were going to say, that words escape us, or that our mind no longer keeps up with our will to live. But it is also true that the reverse process is possible. When we take care of our sleep, movement, diet, and inner calm, the brain responds. It is as if each choice becomes a message of hope to the cells. You can still regenerate, and it really can. I have seen patients who arrived exhausted rediscover lucidity in a few weeks. I have seen eyes shine again. I have seen people who have regained the pleasure of remembering, planning, and dreaming. The most beautiful thing is to realize that the brain and the heart speak the same language. When the mind slows down, the body relaxes. When the body moves, the mind clears. There is no separation. We are a living system where emotion and reason dance together. Taking care of the mind is taking care of life, ensuring that the story we carry within continues to be written with lucidity and presence. Every small choice at night can be an investment or a risk for tomorrow. And now that you understand what is really happening, I want to guide you through something simple and transformative, a daily gesture that anyone can do, and that can be the first step in restoring lightness, focus, and vitality to your mind. It is a short but powerful ritual capable of changing the way your brain awakens and protects itself every day. Now that you understand why this happens, let's talk about what can be done starting today. The good news is that the brain responds quickly when cared for with patience and consistency. You don't have to change everything at once. Just start with small gestures that, repeated day after day, become a new path to mental clarity and well-being. Start with sleep. Turn off screens an hour before bedtime, dim the lights, and avoid caffeine in the late afternoon. Keep your bedroom dark, quiet, and cool. This helps your brain understand that it's time to slow down. Every night of rest is a silent message of love to your body. Sleeping well is not a luxury. It is the biological repair that keeps the mind young and emotions balanced. Also, take care of movement. Walk a little every day, even if it's indoors. The brain needs circulation to stay alive and active. When the body moves, blood carries oxygen and energy to the areas responsible for memory and concentration. And if you can, add moments of conscious breathing. Inhale slowly, hold your breath, exhale calmly. In a few minutes, your mind slows down and your thoughts flow again. Eat simply. Fresh fruit, colorful vegetables, olive oil, fish, and grains. The more natural the food, the clearer your thinking will be. And never underestimate the power of human connection. Talking, laughing, sharing stories. Isolation makes you sick, but connection heals. The brain needs stimulation, affection, and purpose as much as it needs oxygen. Start slowly, at your own pace. The important thing is to take the first step, because that's what changes the direction. The future begins with the small gestures we make when no one is watching. Turning off your cell phone before bed, taking a deep breath before reacting, choosing foods that nourish rather than just fill you up. All of this builds the brain you will have tomorrow. Now tell me in the comments which city or country you are watching us from. I like to know how far this message reaches. And if this content helped you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone you love. That way, more people can learn to take better care of their health. Because taking care of your mind is, after all, the deepest way to take care of your life.